Sorry. It's okay. I don't do anything stupid.
You stay there. No funny business. I'll shoot.
It's okay. Just.
They're looking for suspected carjacker. We cornered him and his friend down the road.
Is there anything else?
Safe blood transfusions are critical aspects of care and public health, and there's need for a consistent blood bank in Kenya. As there is someone who needs blood every 2 seconds, there's need for regular and voluntary donation of blood to address the current shortage. A culture of donating blood voluntarily is important to improving the situation in Kenya, as it helps save millions of lives by improving the health and quality of many patients. You can donate blood anywhere across the country at your nearest Kenya National Blood Transfusion Service Satellite Center. Help save lives by donating blood.
Thank you for joining us. This is KBC Channel 1, the channel that gives you the most and the best news coverage in East Africa. I am Catherine Kasavuli, and of course you're joining us on the Legends edition. Well, our sign language interpreter is Mensa Odingo. That's what I've just been told. So later on this bulletin, we're going to have Topi Liambila with loads and loads of sports news. It's very cold out there, so stay cozy and stay with us until 10 p.m. tonight as we bring you news from Kenya. Let's look at the highlights. Charging up the campaign trail, Kenya Kwanza and Azimio 1 Kenya brigades traverse Kiambu, Mombasa, and Meru counties respectively. Academic Certificate Saga, Director of Public Prosecutions orders probe on authenticity of documents presented by political aspirants. And in sports, Nairobi region picks team for national trials ahead of World Under-20 Athletics Championships. Thank you for joining us on this bulletin. Of course, later on, we're going to host a living legend, and this Saturday, it's none other than Daudi Kjanja. Well, on to our starting story tonight. Deputy President William Ruto has urged Kenyans to vote for a Kenya Kwanza leadership because it will continue with the implementation of development projects initiated by the Jubilee government. Ruto claims that the Big Four agenda could have achieved much more had there been no handshake. And as Gishuki Washira reports, the Kenya Kwanza Alliance is confident it will form the next government.
50 days to the general elections, the Kenya Kwanza Alliance took campaigns to Kiambu County for the 4th day in a row. Led by Deputy President William Ruto, the brigade rallied the Kiambu electorate to vote in Kenya Kwanza Alliance, promising to implement the Big Four agenda introduced by President Uhuru Kenyatta.
We have no choice. Hakuna lingine. Tulikuwa tumepanga na Uhuru Kenyatta kwa mambo ya Big Four na tukasema tutaweka pesa kwa mambo ya kilimo, na ndio muliona agriculture na food security katika mpango ya Big Four. Lakini hawa majamaa walikuja wakaondoa ile subsidy ya fertilizer. That is why we have a crisis of food security in Kenya. Vile tulikuwa tumepanga ndani ya Big Four kabla ya hule mtu kuja kusambaratisha mpango yetu. Hiyo mpango ya afya kwa Wakenya wote, tutahakikisha ya kwamba wewe ambaye mapato yako ni chini, tutapunguza ile gharama ya 500 kwa mwezi kuje chini.
Ruto and his allies urged voters to elect leaders based on their development track record.
Hapa Kiambu, si tumejenga hapa kilomita 500 ya lami? Ni kweli ama si kweli? Si tumeunganisha stima watu wamefika 420,000? Ni kweli ama si kweli?
The leaders decried the rising cost of living, even as they challenged Treasury to explain why the Kenyan shilling was performing poorly against the dollar.
Minister for Treasury, Mr. Yatani, can you explain to the people of Kenya why there's a foreign exchange crisis in the country and the shilling is sliding rapidly?
The visit to Kiambu County comes in the wake of rifts within the Kenya Kwanza alliance in the region. Meanwhile, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi and Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua held rallies in Mombasa County where they promised residents of revival of collapsed industries to curb youth unemployment under the William Ruto-led Kenya Kwanza Alliance government.
For the fourth day running, the Kenya Kwanza Alliance has camped in Kiambu County in a bid to get the lion's share of the 1.4 million votes that are registered here. They are confident that on the 9th August, the people of Kiambu will vote for UDA and their aspirants. Reporting from Dumberi, I'm Gishuke Washira.
Thank you, Washira. And on to other news. Making headlines, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition says it has the blueprint of how to end poverty in the country. Coalition partners led by presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga, who on Saturday started their vote hunting mission to Meru County, pledged to end corruption, terming it a chronic disease that has hampered development. Raila assured Meru residents of massive infrastructural development in the area that will make it a manufacturing hub of East Africa if elected.
The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition for brigade pitched camp in Meru County Saturday, holding roadside rallies to meet the electorate before holding a major rally at the Kinoru Stadium. Issues concerning the welfare of Kenyans taking center stage as Raila Odinga vowed to end poverty in the country.
Adui mkubwa ya maendeleo Kenya hii ni ugonjwa unaitwa ufisadi. Kuanzia mwaka ujao karo tumepiga marufuku. No more, hakuna karo tena. Hakuna school fees tena.
Yule anaweza kuchunga shida za Wakenya ni Raila Amolo Odinga. Yeye ni mchapakazi.
Quoting the Azimio manifesto, Raila revealed his big plans for the residents of Meru County that will open up the area for more investment.
Hata kule DRC naongea na rais kule Tshisekedi kufungua kule soko kubwa ya miraa kule upande ya Kongo. Sasa alafu tutajenga viwanda vingine hapa ili vijana waweze kupata ajira sawa sawa.
Mkituona hapa na ndugu yangu Munya ambaye ameshikilia kilimo na biashara. Na mnajua Mlima Kenya ni kilimo na kilimo inapelekana na biashara. Pahali iko kilimo iko nini? Sasa kijana yetu akiwa hapo kweli mambo yetu itasahaulika.
Sababu swala la miraa ni muhimu zaidi kwa uchumi ya Meru, na kwa hivyo international airport ya Isiolo ndio itakuwa ikitumika kupeleka miraa huko Mogadishu, huko kwingine kunaitwa Geisha.
Sasa soko ya miraa ya Somalia mama atamweleza mwenyewe vile amefanya, hiyo soko inafunguliwa.
Hiyo mkataba ya miraa itawekwa sahihi hapa Nairobi tarehe 5 mwezi wa Julai. Wewe weka miraa yako maji, nyunyusia maji, tengeneza shamba, soko imepatikana na hiyo kazi imekwisha.
Local leaders from Meru County welcomed the coalition in its vote hunting mission.
Jana tulikuwa Murang'a na baba na mama na Munya, na watu wamebadilika.
The leaders urging residents of Meru to turn up in large numbers to cast their vote on the election day. Kamchimenza for the Legends edition.
The Kikuyu Council of Elders and the Kiama group are calling on the youth to be wary of politicians keen on using them to abate violent occurrences during the campaign period. The elders, who are holding a series of youth awareness campaigns in Kiambu County, urged the electorate to embrace peace and sobriety as the August 9th polls beckons.
Kikuyu Council of Elders and the Kiama group were in Gitundu South engaging the youth in an awareness campaign geared towards a peaceful electioneering period. The youth were called upon to steer clear of trouble by avoiding interaction with politicians of questionable character.
Tunahimiza vijana wetu kwamba tunawapenda, wako na inchi hata mbanda ya uchaguzi, so ndio unaona tunaumiza vijana wetu wawe pamoja na tuwe tunaendelea kitu kimoja.
Elsewhere, Turkana County Commissioner Mudhama Wambua has urged residents of Turkana County to maintain peace before, during and after the general elections, saying citizens should live without any threat from politicians. His sentiments were echoed by Turkana Police Commander Samuel Ndanyi, who urged the residents to cooperate with the police.
Pia tumeambia wananchi waweze kutuelezea wale wenye wanataka kufuruga amani, when you wanafanya incitement.
They were speaking in Lodo when he met religious leaders, businessmen, youth and women from Turkana Central. In Nairobi County, gubernatorial candidate Agnes Kigure has pledged to end the harassment of boda riders in Nairobi by authorities if voters give her the mandate to run affairs of the county. Kigure spoke to the riders at the Green Park terminus, where she pledged to support them to get insurance.
Na mimi nimewa promise hii harassment bulikuwaga nayo hapo. Mimi ni maumau na ni mimi nitakuwa na wadefend.
And a section of teachers' unions in the country is calling on the government to order an audit of politicians and public servants' academic certificates to determine their authenticity. Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers Deputy Secretary General Moses Ndurima and Kenya National Union of Teachers National Executive Council member Alex Dunga say recent developments where politicians are accused of forging degree certificates have put the country's education system into ridicule, hence the need to restore confidence.
People who are in big offices seems to have bought academic certificates, and that is terrible. It has dealt a blow to meritocracy.
They were speaking in Siaya County during Kupet Siaya branch annual general meeting held on Saturday. Yusufar reporting for the Legends edition.
Thank you, Farah. The Director of Public Prosecutions has ordered a wider probe to ascertain the authenticity of academic certificates presented to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission by political aspirants. Nurdin Haji said the Inspector General of Police must investigate the role of government agencies and commissions to determine whether they committed any offences in the issuance of the clearance certificates. The directive by Haji comes hot on the heels of yet another probe into whether Senator Johnson Sakaja and Wavinya Ndeti presented fake academic documents to IEBC for clearance to vie for gubernatorial positions.
Casting a wide net in efforts to fish out political aspirants who may have duped their way into the ballot. The police are investigating Senator Johnson Sakaja and Wavinya Ndeti to ascertain whether they presented fake academic papers to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. But the Director of Public Prosecutions wants the investigations to include government agencies and commissions to determine whether they are complicit in the furtherance of academic fraud in the electoral process. In a letter to the Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai, Nurdin Haji wants the comprehensive investigations fast-tracked and the resultant files submitted on or before 1st of July 2022. The Commission for University Education on Friday told Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja to present evidence that he actually studied at Team University in Uganda.
Provide receipts for the application fee when he applied, tuition fees paid, graduation and convocation fees paid in order to graduate.
Sakaja has in the meantime termed the controversy over his academic papers political witch hunt.
Qualify to run for the office of governor of Nairobi County. You cannot revoke and then investigate. You investigate and then, if you need to, you revoke.
For Legends Edition, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
Well, we take our first break. When we come back, of course, we told you our living legend tonight is Daudi Kjanja. Don't go away.
Every day, over 15 million members are transforming Africa. Million members empowered to learn, to create, to grow, to harvest, to lead, to dream. Equity. Karibu member.
Kupata mafuta kupanda, kama sikiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *962 hash.
Nashukuru serikali kwa kuongeza bei ya mafuta. Sasa niko kwa highway na hakuna traffic hata kidogo. Naomba serikali iendelee hivyo, tubaki tu watu ya gasla na heavy machine peke yake. Pia mimi naomba huyu serikali waseme kama gari yako ni below 3000 cc, gari yako na baki nyumbani, itengeneze nyumba ya kufuga kuku.
Kupata mafuta kupanda, bonyeza *811 *962 hash. *811 *962 hash.
Haya,
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Welcome back. Kenya's COVID-19 positivity rate is currently at 14.5%. This is after 398 people tested positive for the virus from a sample size of 2,745 tested in the last 24 hours. Data from the Ministry of Health indicates the total confirmed cases are 329,107, while a total of 320,364 people have recovered. No fatalities were reported in the last one day, and cumulative deaths remain at 5,651. As of Friday, June 17th, 2022, a total of 18,573,028 vaccines had been administered across the country, according to statistics from Johns Hopkins University COVID Resource Center. Over 538 million people have been infected globally, while more than 6.3 million people have succumbed to COVID-19. In other news, police in Masinga, Machakos County, are holding a 35-year-old man after he was allegedly found with bang worth 10 million shillings planted on his 2-acre piece of land. According to the area chief, Sebastian Mange, the suspect has planted maize and cut, commonly known as miraa, on the same farm with the narcotic planted in between. Mange further said the man had allegedly prepared a separate land for another plantation of the bang. The suspect, who is a repeat offender of the same crime, is in custody in Kikumine police station, will be arraigned in court on Monday.
Mnaona huko kuna green, si ati kuna maji karibu. Nimekuta kijana analetanga maji na wataguza, anakuja na nyunyisha, na amepanda mahindi ndio watu waone kama ni mahindi na miraa, lakini katikati amepanda bangi. Kuna wakati mwingine kijana alikuwa ameshikwa na bangi, lakini hakushikiwa hapa my location, alishikiwa Masinga location. Lakini hii sasa, kumbe wakati alishikiwa huko hakuacha hii maneno, alikuwa anauza bangi, lakini sasa ameamua kupanda. Alikuwa ananunua anauza, lakini sasa ameamua kupanda bangi.
The government is mulling over ways of permanently eradicating the Prosopis juliflora plant, popularly known as the Madenge weed, that is prevalent in more than 20 counties across the country. The destructive weed is said to destroy vegetation across large areas of land, leaving people and livestock in distress.
Celebrations to commemorate the World Desertification and Drought Day in Eldume, Baringo County. Environment and Forestry Cabinet Secretary Kiriako Tobiko using the platform to highlight the threat posed by the destructive Mathenge weed.
1 million acres of land in this country is now colonized by Prosopis. And it is spreading at the rate of 15% per year.
Tobiko assuring that the government has come up with solutions to completely eradicate the weed known scientifically as Prosopis juliflora.
National strategy in action and action plan ya kumaliza Mathenge Kenya mzima. Na the way to do it ni kuitumia, including production of charcoal.
Madhenge weed is currently causing havoc in 20 counties, including Baringo, where pastoralist communities which rely on livestock for survival are affected.
Na tulienda kotini kwa ajili ya hii mambo ya Prosovis. And kotini iliamua kwamba Prosovis is a weed. Sio miti. Na hii weed iko kwa shamba ya mwenyewe, sio forestry ya serikali.
The weed is said to have been introduced in Kenya in 1973 from Brazil.
Beautiful children. The Kenya Broadcasting Corporation's Mayenga FM and Radio Taifa Caravan traversed Homa Bay County, empowering learners with knowledge on reproductive health care and life skills. The move is aimed at reducing the high teenage pregnancies and HIV cases in the county. Ruth Wamboy reports.
A day after the Day of the African Child celebrations, the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation's Mayenga FM and Radio Taifa Caravan pitched camp in Homa Bay County. Here, the KBC Fraternity, Bethel Network and other partners made stopovers at several primary schools in Rusinga Island to enhance awareness among the learners on reproductive health.
So we are here today to just sensitize the community together with Bethel, and they have serious talks when it comes to issues to do with self-awareness to the teenagers, self-identity, issues of being assertive, issues of menstrual when it comes to girls, and even the boys themselves. How do they adapt to these things as they happen in the community?
Homa Bay County has a high rate of teenage pregnancies and HIV cases that have taken a toll on the 100% high school transition target set by the government.
Calling a spoon as a spade, like holding a spoon. Not telling kids vitu za watu wazima. Like they don't try to understand what you're talking about. But when you call the thing the way it is, avoid having sex with this and this, avoid a certain contact, you find that these kids, they are able to understand exactly what are you talking about. Na kama ni stories za HIV, stories za early pregnancies, if a kid understands what exactly happens for me to get pregnant.
We have target the very vulnerable girls who don't have this information about health education, especially in terms of puberty and life skills. And that's why today we are at Utajo Primary School, giving this kind of education to the girls and putting more emphasis in terms of giving more knowledge on menstrual hygiene management.
Stakeholders are advocating for reproductive health education in schools to equip adolescents with the skills and knowledge they need to stay safe.
The challenges of the different environment affect our girls differently, and such initiatives help us or enable us implement the program in a custom-made way for the young boys and girls.
The school head teachers hailed the move, saying it would improve academic performance.
Shule nyingi ziko kando ya ziwa Victoria, na kando ya ziwa Victoria tuna wavuvi ambao wametoka sehemu mbalimbali, hata kutoka katika nchi jirani kama za Uganda na Tanzania.
The Homa Bay County reporting most cases of teenage pregnancies in the country. There is need for a concerted effort to ensure learners get sexual reproductive education at a tender age. Reporting from Kamgere Primary School, Rusinga Island in Homa Bay County, I'm Ruth Wamboy.
Residents from Muthe Shur and Bubisa villages in the North Hor constituency of Marsabit County have received food donations from the World Food Programme in a bid to initiate to mitigate the drought situation in the area. The drought caused by lack of rain for 3 consecutive seasons has led to a great need for food aid to cushion residents from hunger.
At least 3,500 families have received food aid as World Food Programme in partnership with Strategic Northern Development continue to provide supplies. The beneficiaries, who are residents of North Hor constituency, received a total of 201 tons of maize, 29 tons of beans and 16 tons of cooking oil. They, however, called on humanitarian organizations and governments to increase food rations due to the high number of needy people. In Kajiado County, clan elders from Agikuyu and Maasai communities living at the border of Kajiado and Kiambu counties have agreed to resolve their prolonged dispute over pasture that has seen herds of cattle lost. The two communities agreed to maintain peace and put effort to develop the area for mutual benefit.
Hapo awali tulikuwa na wakati mgumu, wakati tulikuwa na shida ya warani, miuzizi wa mifugo, lakini kwa sasa tumetulia na tulikuwa tunataka tu kujikumbusha ambapo tumetoka na mahali tuko sasa hivi, na tuchukulie amani kama kitu ya kawaida ya mzaha. Manake sasa tunaangalia ku maintain hiyo amani, especially sahi wakati wa siasa.
Elsewhere in Narok County, leaders led by Narok North Member of Parliament Moitalel Olekanta have urged the government to consider the Maasai community for employment opportunities in green energy generating sectors. Kenta noted that parcels of land in Narok, Kajiado and parts of Nakuru counties was surrendered by the community for geothermal exploration and residents should be considered for jobs.
Kuna geothermal imetoka hapa na tunasema watoto wetu wapati kazi. Hii mambo ya watoto wetu kuwekwa kando na rasilimali yote ni yao, tumesema sasa hatutaki na tunataka hawa watoto wasaidike.
Jacqueline Asharia for Legends Edition.
Just a quick reminder, this is KBC Channel 1, the best news coverage station in Kenya. And we will be taking a small break on the Legends Edition. Please don't go away.
Uchaguzi mkuu wa tarehe 9 Agosti utabadilisha pakubwa taswira ya kisiasa ya taifa hili. Je, hii inamaanisha nini kwako wewe mpiga kura? Kila Jumapili saa 12 jioni, jiunge nao Gladys Mungai na Harith Salim kwenye makala yetu ya Kenya ya Amua, ambapo pamoja na wadau mbalimbali watajadili na kudadavua kwa kina michakato ya uchaguzi. Fanya uamuzi wa busara. Usikose kutazama Kenya ya Amua kila Jumapili kwenye runinga uipendayo ya KBC Channel 1.
Good evening and welcome to a comprehensive look at sports this Saturday evening. I'm Topi Liambila and this is the Legends Edition. In our highlights tonight, it is a wrap-up for the pre-trials, under-20 pre-trials in Nairobi West. Malkia Stars off to Brazil. Osaka's Wimbledon Blues. Bolton falls at the Birmingham Classic as Leclerc's Ferrari stokes trouble. Welcome. Daniel Kinyanjui emerged victorious in the 3,000 meters race during the Nairobi Region Athletics Under-20 pre-trials held today at the Nairobi West Prisons grounds. The event marked the end of the regional championships for the junior athletes as Kenya prepares to send a formidable team to the World Under-20 Athletics Championships in Cali, Colombia in August this year. Let's take a look.
Kinyanjui from Kerrigat training camp outsprinted his competitors to cross the finish line in a time of 8 minutes and 2 seconds, beating Gideon Kipngetich and Peter Kamau to the second and third positions respectively. In other races, Ruth Muihaki emerged victorious in the 5,000 meters race, followed by Cynthia Chepkerui in the second spot, while Regina Nesarien finished third. Nairobi region used the one-day event to select a team that will participate in the national trials set for 1st and 2nd of next month at the Moi International Sports Center Kasarani, where Athletics Kenya will name a team to defend the world title in Cali, Colombia.
By now I cannot tell because we are doing it according to the time. we have a qualifying time. We have set a qualifying time. So after the race, we shall go peruse and we go through the results and pick who are capable of qualifying.
According to the Athletics Kenya, Nairobi region athletes who will take part in the national trials will be selected by a panel of technical officials.
Sikuwa nimetarajia kuja namba moja, lakini ni Mungu ameniwezesha. Mazoezi yenye nimefanya imenisaidia, lakini naomba niendelee na mazoezi hadi nifike Kenya team.
Nairobi region pre-trials mark the end of the region championship for the junior athletes as Kenya prepares to send a formidable team to Cali, Colombia. Kenya successfully defended its 2018 title after amassing a total of 16 medals, 8 gold, 1 silver and 7 bronze medals. For Legends Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Ulinzi handball men's team beat JKUAT 39-22 in a league match played at the Nyayo National Stadium today. Ulinzi started very well, despite missing open chances in the early minutes, but won the two halves. In another match, Technical University of Kenya suffered 36-22 defeat to GSU. In the ladies category, Ulinzi Sharks secured a deserving 31-12 win over JKUAT. Tomorrow, women's champions Nairobi Water Queens will return to court to take on the debutants at Nairobi City Council, while Amazon locks horns with National Cereals and Produce Board. This is some of the action. The national volleyball team Malkia Strikers is expected to leave the country tomorrow for a 2-month high-performance training in Brazil in preparation for the World Volleyball Championships, scheduled to be held in Poland and the Netherlands from the 23rd of September to the 15th October.
Tai and Pamela Masai, who participated in the Tokyo Olympics last year, and Triza Atuka were left out of the traveling squad, named yesterday by head coach Paul Bitok. Violet Makuto, who turned down a call-up during the World Championship qualifiers held in Rwanda last year, has been included in the team. Other players in the team include Veronica Kilabat, libero Veronica Makoha, and newcomers Belida Barasa and Magdalene Mwende. Captain Masimoim and assistant captain Noel Murambi lead the experienced players alongside Agrippina Kundu, Violet Makoto, Sharon Chepchumba and Edith Wisa. The team has been training at the Moi International Sports Center Kasarani in Nairobi. The team will also travel to Serbia to play build-up matches with the host and Colombia before they leave for Poland for the championships.
Lavina Martins has boosted her chances of being selected to represent Kenya at the Birmingham Commonwealth Games after winning the 3 matches today in the trials held at the Aga Khan Sports Club. The All-African Games double bronze medalist said that she is optimistic she will win Kenya medals at the Games if selected in the national team. The Commonwealth Games will begin on the 28th of next month and end on the 8th of August in Birmingham, England.
It's a great achievement considering that I think it's the will of the game and passion is what brings everyone here. Yes, for the support we don't get quite a lot, but we hope for the best. Actually, preparation has not been quite well, but we hope for the best.
Kenya finished second at the Kwibuka Women's T20 cricket tournament in Rwanda after a 44-run loss to Tanzania.
Seeking to win a 5th Kwibuka Women's T20 crown, Kenya lost the toss to Tanzania, who elected to bat. Tanzania were bowled out at the last ball with 114 runs on the board.
Again, a great demonstration of the athleticism of these girls.
Peris Kamunye top scored for Tanzania with 29 runs, while captain Fatuma Kibasu contributed 17 and wicket-keeper Shufa Mohamedi adding 19.
And there it is, another run out.
Quinta Abel and Esther Wachira took 2 wickets each for Kenya. In reply, the Kenyan side were all out on 70 runs after 20 overs, handing Tanzania a 44-run win and the Kwibuka T20 trophy. Esther Wachira had 17 runs and Daisy Joroge 14 and Sarabakita 13. Nazra Saidi had 3 wickets and Agnes Kwele took 2 for Tanzania. The Kwibuka Women's T20 tournament is held in memory of the victims of the 1994 Rwanda genocide. For Legends Edition, I am Daniel Wahome.
KCB and Strathmore Leos will extend their rivalry as they meet in the quarter-finals of the Driftwood Sevens at the Mombasa Sports Club tomorrow. The 2022 edition with the Mombasa Museto Inter-Schools Swimming Competition that has attracted over 600 swimmers drawn from Mombasa and Malindi got underway today at the Oswald Academy, Mombasa. Defending champions Loreto Convent Primary School, who won the event in 2020, will defend their title against Muzini School, Light Academy, Mombasa, Aga Khan High School, Mombasa, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Secondary School, Jafari Academy, BCB School, Abu Huraira School, among others. The event organizer Kevin Joya said the gala attracted institutions offering 844, CBC and the international curricula and will give beginners and advanced swimmers a chance to showcase their swimming talents.
We have a total of 17 schools that are here with around 600 kids here to outshine each other in the swimming championship.
Four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka has withdrawn from the Wimbledon tennis tournament with an Achilles injury. Osaka has not yet played since the French Open. The former world #1 has previously admitted that she was unlikely to compete in the Grand Slam after it was stripped of its ranking points. The ATP and WTA stripped the points from the Wimbledon Classic after the tournament banned Russian and Belarusian players over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Osaka won the US Open in 2018 and 2020 and the Australian Open in 2019 and 2021, but has never gone beyond the third round at the Wimbledon Classic. Katie Boulter's hopes of reaching the Birmingham Tennis Classic semi-finals ended in straight-set loss to Romania's Simona Halep. The British player, who has won 6 singles and 4 doubles titles in the ITF Women's Circuit, will now set her sights on the next week's Eastbourne International after being awarded a wildcard for the event on Friday. Elsewhere, Ferrari's Charles Leclerc has suffered the latest of a series of blows to his title hopes with a agreed penalty for excessive engine usage.
Putting the pressure on Halep, who leads 30-15, 1-2 at the moment.
Katie Boulter hopes of reaching the Birmingham Tennis Classic semi-finals ended in a straight-set loss to Romania's Simona Halep. The Briton started well against the 2019 Wimbledon champion, but Halep raised her game to win 6-4, 6-1.
Goodness me.
She claimed the biggest win of her career by ranking in the first round as she beat American Alison Riske for her first victory over a top 40 player. She followed that up with a comfortable straight-set win over French former world #4 Caroline Garcia. But the second seed Halep posed a challenge too far for the world #141. Elsewhere, Ferrari have fitted a that electronic control unit at the Canadian Grand Prix, triggering an automatic 10th place Grand Prix penalty for Sunday's race. Leclerc has suffered an 80-point swing in favor of title rival Max Verstappen after a series of recent problems.
Yeah, I like the track. It's very fun with this all of this curve riding, and it's very different to what we are used to during the season. So yeah, it's nice to have a track with such a character. The race pace we need to work. I mean, it's a bit more difficult to have a clear picture because I was on a different compound all the time. But overall, it didn't look too bad, so that's good.
Leclerc led Verstappen by 46 points. After 2 victories and second place from the first 3 races, from 2 which the Dutchman retired. He also lost victory in Monaco Grand Prix after Ferrari strategy bunker dropped him from lead 4th, while a spin in a closing stage of Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix turned at that place into 6th. For Sports News, I'm Kingori Mwangi.
And that's all we had for you tonight. Before we take the break, I'd like to thank, of course, the team of Dan Mwendwa, Kenneth Langat, Daniel Home and Kings, for having brought us these very wonderful stories tonight. We shall be back again to wind up after the break. Don't go away.
Our arts and entertainment industry has evolved over the years.
It is at such times that our destinies are written. Will we rise up in courage or die in cowardice?
Who are the movers and shakers in film and theatre? Get trendy as we review locally produced films and stage drama every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Cinemas and Theatre.
Brought to you by the Kenya Film Commission. Film Kenya, Capture Africa.
Top sports attractions on KBC Channel 1. In July, Kenya Morans face off against the DRC, Egypt and Senegal in the FIBA Basketball World Cup African qualifiers in Alexandria, Egypt from 1st to 3rd of July 2022. Also in July, Kenya plays South Africa in Rugby League test matches in Nairobi with a return fixture set for October. Still in July, watch the World Athletic Championships from 15th to 24th July live from Oregon, USA, as Kenyan athletes seek glory. Followed by the 22nd Commonwealth Games from 28th July to 8th August, live from Birmingham, England. In August, join our coverage of the World Athletics Under-20 Championships from the 1st to 6th of August 2022 from Cali, Colombia. Then, in November, catch the World Half Marathon Championships on 13th November from Yangzhou, China. Now that's what sets us apart as KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
A very good day to you. My name is Daniel Wahome, and welcome to this edition of The Living Legends. And I'd like to go back 2.5 years ago when the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation hosted Living Legends of Broadcasting from radio and television. They were fitted at an event that was well attended and was part of the Sundowner Sunset Dates. And today we speak to one of those persons who was fitted at that point. He's got stories to tell. He has been a broadcaster. He went into freelance business after leaving VOK, and now is a motorcycling enthusiast. We speak to Daudi Kjanja, who has been a voice on your radio, a face on your TV within this service. Bwana Kjanja.
Thank you, Daniel Ohome.
It's a pleasure to host.
Let me just correct you there a bit. I'm not a motorcyclist. I'm a biker, super biker.
I mean, the way you... so, either way, it's still categorized by the government as a motorcycle.
Right, thank you.
But a super biker.
Super biker.
Well, he's going to be telling us about that, and also telling us about, safety, because that's something that's a concern for so many of the bikers. But like with every other edition of the Living Legends, the story starts with your early life, where you were born, and your education.
Daniel, I was actually born many years ago. I would actually say I'm a sexagenarian, slightly above 60 years, in the Rift Valley, in a place we'd call actually Musho Alami. My primary education, I went to a school in a place called Njoro, a Little Shore Primary School. Later on, I came to Gilgil in a military barracks, where I went to a school called Langa Langa Primary. And then later on, I went to St. Patrick's. And of course, from St. Patrick's, I went to Kwelele High School, which is actually under the Kenya Defense Forces. Kind of like a military academy. That's where I went for my high school.
And what were the things, that drove you into writing, broadcasting within that time?
Let me say, broadcasting was actually on to me since I was a kid. And I remember my mother, we used to fight all the time. She used to be an aya, the Wazungu aya. And we had a radio then, in those early 60s. And despite she would actually hide that transistor radio, I would actually make sure that I got it, and that she would actually find me listening to that radio. And the people that I loved most when I was a kid, I think I was about 5 years, was Job Isaac Mamto, and the likes of Leonard Mambo, and Alfred Mike Mureithi. And then there was Joseph Kema, and there was Salim Juma. There was also Sami Louis. And there was this lady that I loved listening to her so much, Elizabeth Akinyi, Amina Faki. I would actually say it's the perfume of them. But of course, let alone when I joined Voice of Kenya those early years, I met them here, and I was really, it was actually Fish was really total manifestation of happiness. I couldn't believe that I'm meeting the same people that I used to listen to when I was a small child.
I mean, they call it being starstruck.
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
On the job, you have to deliver.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, for you, is that when you were in high school, you set up a magazine. And what was the process of getting together this magazine, and what were the stories that you were producing for Kwelele?
No, what happened actually, that was around 1974, 75, thereabout. And we did have a school magazine. And I remember there were 5 of us. We loved Kiswahili. And every other time that we made sure that the principal bought Baraza. I don't know whether it was a weekly Kiswahili newspaper or daily. I can't remember that. But we actually made sure that we had a Baraza. And if I can remember those people, who are actually my friends, and some of them are, at least one of them is deceased. One of them was Rudisi Musimi. Rudisi Musimi was kind of like our tutor amongst the 5 of us. And then there was Brigadier Macharia, who is actually retired now. There was Rufus Thuku, who later on went into journalism and later on became the director of Permanent Music Commission. He's retired. And then there was me, and with Kanja Daudi. They used to call me Keka. And then there was another fella that we haven't seen for over 45 years, Boni Joseph Kamau. We hear he went to Embu, but that is one fella that I would like to meet because he was a really curious character. We went to primary together. He bullied me a lot. And then, of course, later on in high school, I bullied him in writing, and we eventually became friends. That's my story there actually in Kwelele High School. And like they say, for Bwana Kamau, they say KBC ni nusu ya kuonana. Ni nusu ya kuonana.
So halfway, you might eventually find Daudi Kjanja. So said you got together, you got the Baraza, and then how did you convince the headmaster at Kwelele now that you can have this publication?
No, we actually said that we must have a publication. And I remember it was a Mr. Muthigani, who is still alive. I still visit him. He lives in Kahawa West. He could be somewhere around 85 years. Once in a while, after 2 or 3 months, I usually go visit him. And it was quite agreeable. And through that now, we formed that writers club. And because they used to call me Small Kanja. I never participated in sports, but every single event that the school went to, I was there as a reporter. Because I remember actually when we were in school, people would come to be recruited when we were actually in Form 2.
After Kwelele High School, you attached re-education and coming to
after Koilel High School, there is one school I really wanted to go for higher, Friends Kamsinga. Out of blues, I really loved that school.
That's for the A-levels?
That's for the A-levels. But what happened actually when I was actually in form towards Form 3, I was actually a person of literature, history, and still art subjects. But there's this other bully also. You know, like every other time I was entering into a literature class, he would say, Kaka, are you a girl? Why are you doing literature? So he kind of like convinced me to go science subjects. And by science subject, I was actually very poor. So out of that, because I never did literature then, I missed 1 or 2 points. So I was not able to join Friends Kamsinga. And I was actually very, very disappointed. So when I came to Nairobi from the village, and of course I came staying with my cousins, my uncles here in Nairobi, I really wanted to further my education. See, like either do that particular subject in literature because I was very good in literature. I wanted to repeat that particular subject and then kind of like get a chance to join a polytechnic, say for A-levels, because most of my cousins actually went to polytechnic for A-levels. But it was never to be. Later on, I joined the extramural studies at the University of Nairobi. I studied diploma in marketing. And out of that process now, I was able to get some kibarua here as an artist. And out of blues, I was taken to a station called Radio Operations, where I started doing kind of like clerical work. I remember, say, like, the station used to open at 6.
Yes, kufungua kituo.
Kufungua kituo. So there's this log that I was taught how to kind of like schedule.
You are a newsreader?
Yes, I was a newsreader.
Yes.
Yes.
And what was that process then, knowing that, you know, the news had to come through wire services, the presidential press unit would bring their own story, which was to be broadcast, and the news gathering process, what was it?
So what happened about the newsroom at that particular time is that newsroom relied so much on Kenyan news agencies. And I remember Kenyan news agency reporters were all over the country. They would actually dispatch their news to Information House down near KBS, where it was then during that particular time. So once it was taken to the Information House, the Kenyan news agency headquarters, then it would actually be re-edited and sent here as was it through telex or something?
Yeah, there was telex.
There was kind of like telex. So what happened actually, you know, like we had editors and the translators actually in the newsroom. So those were the people, depending on the shift, that they would actually select the kind of news that would be transmitted at that particular time. And they would be re-edited by the editors actually in the newsroom. We as the translators then would actually be given those news to translate, and voila. And you remember that is the time we were using typewriters.
As a newsreader, there is something you put on social media after former Attorney General Charles Kjanja died.
Yes.
There was a story that when there was the commission of inquiry into Charles Kjanja to find out if he was working against the government of the late former President Daniel Arap Moi.
Yes.
You read a news item and it became a case of concern.
I was actually almost sacked. And this is the same Kjanja who through my friend Mohammed Juma Njuguna, who was actually my supervisor. You know, when I started reading news, Kjanja, I think, didn't like the name Kjanja. And then he would actually ask, who is this? Who allowed that son of Warolu Kjanja to read news?
Oh, because Warolu Kjanja had just been incarcerated.
Incarcerated somewhere in Kingongo.
Yes.
And Mohammed Njuguna, of course, would actually intercede on my behalf. And another news editor, Ms. Mangoka, would say, Daudi Kjanja is not related to Warolu Kjanja. So the commission of inquiry about Kjanja came in, and I remember I was picked up at my house in Huruma Flats somewhere around 4-ish, because that is the time that the newsreader were picked up. And I came, that is the time that we were reading news at 6. I was actually doing news in Kiswahili, Habari. And then, of course, you do Magazetini, the news at 7, Magazetini, and then news at 9. And that time, I was in top notch. I was actually in my epitome best. I read news, and out of blues, I don't know where I got the name Mogane. You know, every single item. You know, professionally supposed to be 2 names in news reading. But from 6 a.m., when reading the news bulletin, wherever there was Kjanja, I was adding Charles Mogane Kjanja. Magazetini, Charles Mogane Jonjo. 7, Magazetini. 9 a.m., Charles Mogane Jonjo. You know, and hapo ndio walikuwa nasema niliogelea. I was very happy.
Yes.
So when I had just gone through the 9 o'clock news bulletin, I mean, out of the studio, I saw a whole pantheon of top-notch managers here, led by Nyamboki. And I was wondering now, these people, what's up? I mean, they want to promote me, man. I was doing those things very nicely. And I remember Nyamboki there was actually Hamani Gambi, who was actually the deputy chief news editor, and there was Mangoka, the chief news editor. And they told me, Nyamboki, Kjanja, bring that bulletin. And then I'm just mute. He picked up the bulletin. Follow me. Then now we are following Nyamboki to the director's office. And we entered into the director's office, and I heard him say, there was some red phone there, and I think the big man had called. And I heard him, Nyamboki says, Your Excellency, there is no name Mogane. I heard some voice, na hiyo jina ametoa wapi? Na Mogane ni mtu ambaye amezidiwa. So me, I never spoke. And what happened is actually they threw me out of the office. I was actually interdicted for about, I think, 6 months. I never read news. How I came again onto the roster, I can't remember. But I never touched Bulletin for 6 months. And that was it. Because Mogane, I think, to the powers that be, I mean, he was kind of like a nemesis at a particular time politically. So why does this young man call Mogane the appraised one, you know? So that's how my cookie crumbled then. That was life then.
And also now, let's move on to the sports desk. And set up in 85.
Yes.
And within 2 years, you had to handle what was the biggest event to ever come to Kenya, the 4th All Africa Games.
Oh, the 4th All Africa Games. Oh, you know, our boss then was actually Harry Amol, deceased. He was actually into sports so much, because he's the one who did a lot of campaign for that particular program, desk to be initiated. And then the biggest event that we covered then was the All Africa Games, and I loved boxing. You know, I became kind of like the anchor person for boxing. And there's no single country that the boxing team that when I didn't go. We went to Uganda, we went to Germany. I remember we went even to UK and even the Far East in Bangkok.
For the King's Cup?
For the King's Cup. And so when it comes now to the All Africa Games, I was actually in charge, despite my young age then. I was actually in charge of both television and radio for commentaries. You can imagine it's me who recruited my previous mentor, Alfred Mike Morethi, to come. We do the commentary with him. And it went on very well, because I remember boxing was one of the major events in this country, apart from football. And I remember in the finals of the Africa Games, I think Kenya was able to clinch 9 gold medals.
10 of the 12.
Was it 10?
10 of the 12.
It's a long time ago. You was still young.
That is a hit squad.
It was a hit squad.
And from that, you know, eventually, something else that was huge on KBC at that point was darts.
The darts, yes.
And you had to fill in the shoes of Tido Muhando.
Tido Muhando, yes.
For the Festival of Darts with David Rontana.
Absolutely. I had actually gotten out of KBC then, because it was parastatal in the early 90s. And then I decided I should actually start doing broadcasting on freelance basis. So Tido Muhando, my friend, another mentor, goes to BBC. And out of blues, I was picked up to do his programs.
Well, another sport that you do love is rallying. And you even did this in your freelance days.
Yes, I did.
What has that journey been? Because you've seen the wild 5-day safari move into the special format in the 90s till 2002. And you were part of our commentary team last
Well, I was actually part of that commentaries. I did a lot of field commentaries, you know, like from Cherangani, from Churu Hills, all the way from Mombasa. We'd even go all the way to Western Kenya. And we would actually make sure those particular shots were brought for transmission. And I love motorsport. And eventually, of course, now, and you know, motorsport, if I can give you the history of motorsport, it's kind of like a European thing.
Yes.
Because with the invention of the combustion engine in the 1802 in France, like by the year 1894, they had started those road races. So WRC, of course, now, the Safari Rally was actually incorporated in 1973. When I was a small kid, a small boy, huko mwisho wa lami, and there was that Coronation Safari and East African Safari, we never slept until cars started passing somewhere around 3 a.m. I still love sports, and that's why I do superbikes. Anything speed.
Well, anything to do with speed, and I would like to bring in, and it's about safety. You do superbikes.
Yes.
But I want to simply say it's 2 wheels run by a motor.
Yes.
Either it be a superbike.
Yes.
It be an ordinary motorcycle or a border.
Right.
Or even a courier motorcycle.
Right.
What's your push for safety in this sector?
So we have this group in the Facebook, the East African motorcycle something. So there's some certain group of youngsters there who do a lot of campaign for safety. Because when I see some of the borders ride, I really sympathize with them. Because most of the time they are riding opposite direction. And they don't understand this is a vehicular and anything can happen. And it's actually very important. It doesn't matter whether you're going to buy milk, umeacha maji pale inachemka, and you have your bike, make sure that you have your helmet. And some of those things that protect the elbows and the knees. Or dress nicely. Like I've just come riding on my bike. This could be a jean, but if you touch here, but a Daniel, this is a padded jean, just touch.
Yes.
This is a padded. Yes. It's a padded jean.
Yes, your shins are fully protected.
Very fully protected, because it's actually anything can happen. So make sure that every time you're riding, whether it's border, you've put on your helmet, you've put on your stuff, the gloves, and you put on your jacket for total protection, because now this becomes the body of the vehicular as you move along to whatever destination that you be doing.
All right. Now, as we come to a close.
Right.
Ulikuwa msomaji wa habari.
Mimi nilikuwa msomaji wa habari bwana.
Haya.
Simnipatie kazi bwana. Sijazeeka sana. Sijui lakini
niko na taarifa hapo.
Sina macho wana mazuri bwana. Unajua sasa nishazeeka mawani, sijui itakuwaje.
Haya. Hiyo taarifa.
Naam.
Those are hiyo taarifa ya saa 10. Ilisomwa na Asha Hamisi. Radio Taifa. So the 4 p.m. bulletin on Radio Taifa today, I've picked the Muktasari and the top 2 stories. So tukifunga, tusome taarifa ya habari.
Habari kamili. Serikali imetoa nyongeza 12% katika viwango vya chini ya zaidi vya mishahara kufuatia malalamishi ya waajiri eti hawana uwezo wa kulipa mishahara mpya. Serikali kupitia kwa Wizara ya Leba inasema ilikuwa imeshauriana na wadau mbalimbali kabla ya rais kutoa tangazo hilo wakati wa maadhimisho ya sherehe za sikukuu ya wafanyakazi. Tetesi hizo zinafuatia ripoti ya chama cha waajiri wa sekta ya kilimo IAA iliyoashiria kwamba wakulima wameanza kuwafuta kazi wafanyakazi katika juhudi za kutimiza maagizo ya serikali. Hayo yalifichuliwa wakati wa mkutano wa mwaka 59 na chama hicho AGM uliofanyika huko Naivasha na kuhudhuriwa na waziri wa Leba Simon Chelugui. Chelugui alikiri kwamba waajiri hawajajinusuru ipasavyo kufuatia janga la ugonjwa wa COVID-19, lakini akasema kwamba mara ya mwisho kwa viwango vya chini vya mishahara kuongezwa ilikuwa mwaka wa 2018. Mwenyekiti wa chama cha waajiri wa sekta ya kilimo AEA Wilson Odoyo alisema baadhi wa wakulima wameamua kuwasimamisha kazi wafanye kazi, hatua ambayo walisema huenda ikasababisha migomo na kupotea kwa nafasi za ajira. Msaidizi kamishna wa kaunti katika eneo la Naivasha, Fidelis Ibabu, aliwahakikishia wakulima na pia wafanye kazi hao kuhusu usalama wakati wa kipindi cha uchaguzi.
Well done. I think you still got it because now
I haven't finished.
You haven't finished?
Yeah, there's another bulletin here.
Story.
It's called Wanjigi.
Yeah. Tusome.
So mfanyi biashara Jamie Wanjigi amesema ataelekea kwenye mahakama kuu kuwasilisha rufaa yake dhidi ya hatua ya kamati ya kusuluhisha mizozo ya tume huru ya uchaguzi na uratibu wa mipaka humu nchini IBC kudumisha uamuzi wa awali wa kumzuia kuwania urais. Acha niangalie TV kidogo. Hiyo ni kama TV Wanjigi alikuwa ametafuta mwingilio wa kamati hiyo ili kubatilisha uamuzi wa mwenyekiti wa ABC Wafula Chebukati na kutomuidhinisha. Katika kudumisha uamuzi huo, George Murugu aliyeongoza kikao cha jopo lililosikiliza kesi hiyo jana usiku alisema Chebukati hakukosea hata kidogo, kwa vile mwaniaji huyo alikosa kutimiza masharti ya usajili katika muda uliowekwa. Hata hivyo, unatia pause kidogo. Hata hivyo, Wanjigi ameapa kupinga uamuzi huo katika mahakama kuu. Ameapa kupinga, samahani. Najua ukikosa kidogo nasema samahani. Hata hivyo, Wanjigi ameapa kupinga uamuzi huo katika mahakama kuu. Wakili wake Willy Sotin anadai kamati hiyo ilifafanua vibaya sheria. Rufaa ya mwaniaji rais wa chama cha Third Way Alliance Ekuru au COTS pia ilitupiliwa mbali jana usiku. Jopo hilo ilidumisha uamuzi wa kumzuia kushiriki katika kinyang'anyiro cha urais, ikisema alishindwa kuwasilisha shahada yake ya degree na pia sahihi za wafuasi 2,000 kutoka jumla ya kati ya kaunti 24 za humo nchini. Mwisho wa habari.
Well done. Still got it, and that is the unrehearsed news.
Unrehearsed news.
One more thing. Have you ever been called Patrick Njiro's brother?
Many a times. Many a times. We call each other brother. And I'm the one actually who built that young man. He had come from some place in the slopes of Mount Kenya called Kivoti. So I was kind of like Charlie Amtai in Nairobi. So I'm the one who showed him around. Although I was pretending also I'm a Nairobian and I come from the village. I was actually a villager. And I my first bike I bought after 1 year. And I remember my mother never talked to me for about 2 years or 3 years. Because I was telling her, this bike of mine I'm spending 4,000. That was, I think, early 80s. And she was telling me, why can't you buy some shamba here? Kuna shamba inakatwa 5,000, uwe na shamba. I told her, no, I love bikes. But later on we bought some shambas. But that was my passion. When my friend John Obongo, because we got employed at the same time, another gentleman called Laro Ambua and Ike Mlembo, when they first 1 year salary, they bought music systems. I bought a bike. I bought a motorbike. And we still laugh about it.
Thank you very much,
thank you
Daudi Kjanja. Yes, you have been watching an edition of The Living Legends with Daudi Kjanja. He's been a broadcaster, and he has been as a freelance, as an employee of the Voice of Kenya. When transitioned to KBC, he left and he went freelance, and still is a superbike enthusiast and calls for proper road safety by those who ride on motorized 2 wheels. Thank you very much, Daudi Kjanja.
Thank you so very much.
Well, my name is Daniel Wahome. Keep it KBC Channel 1.
Oh, well, what a nice way to just walk down memory lane. You and I worked together with Daudi Kjanja, of course, and it was a lot of fun. We were very young, full of energy.
And walking the corridors up and down to radio, to TV.
I tell you.
It's very interesting. We had very many interesting guys.
Yes, we had. I just remember him talking about Cornelius Nyamboki.
Yeah, Nyamboki, the director.
Yes, the director.
1984.
Exactly. People like Lee Njiro also, Hamani Gambi, and, all the, and great news anchors, Norbert Okare, Nicola Miawa, Adila Ali Bashir.
Yeah, Adila Ali Bashir.
Yeah,
very many people don't
Rosemary Musumba,
No, we had very great names, like in the newsroom, we had people like Harry Amol, who started the sports desk, Chris Opio.
Harry Amol, where is he? Oh, no.
So there was Harry Amol, there was William Meda, you remember?
Yes.
Then Greg Adambo also was in the newsroom. The Badi Mohsin, the
Yes.
late one who lost the other day.
Yes.
Yeah, Fred Amani Nyongesa. You remember Nyongesa?
Yes.
There's one Nyongesa,
Is he still?
Yeah, he is. He's in Kitale, those sides, I think. He's now
pass my
farmer.
regards when you see him.
No, he's great. We had great people. You know, Said Ali Matano, brother to Hamisi Tema.
Yes,
very,
that's
very good
true.
guys.
Great voices, great faces, great names. You know, this has been a wonderful foundation, and of course, it has birthed all the electronic media houses. You know, I take a lot of pride just being at KBC, former Voice of Kenya. You know,
yeah, because it's the mother. I mean,
that's where we've learned.
KBC, that's where we learn the ropes.
That's it.
That's which birthed us.
Yeah.
It's the mother of all broadcasting stations, and even many of the top broadcasters elsewhere now in KTN, Citizen, NTV, were all members
they started here. They started here, and they were trained by some of the best, because a lot of the senior news anchors, producers, and continuity announcers were actually trained in BBC, in Voice of America, Hilversum, in Deutsche Welle, and Australia and New Zealand. So, of course, what we were receiving was the best. I was trained by some of those guys.
Of course, and you know, Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, KMC, I always say it is the mother of all training.
Of course, you remember Miles Lee. He was an amazing lecturer, and of course, every other lecturer there. So we just want to say thank you so very much to all of you for keeping KBC Channel 1 going and keeping it at the top of your viewership.
I mean, it's been a great evening, and I couldn't have it better than have another living legend like Daudi Kjanja coming on the show after such a bamba sports entry this evening. My name is Topi Liambila,
and I am Topi, and I am Catherine Kasavuli. I just wanted to let us know that our sign language interpreter, what's her name? Lenza Ontigo.
It's an interesting
I'm used to Byron Aburi and Lucy Maura. So Lenza, we love you. Thank you so much for being with us.
How do you sign Lenza?
Okay.
You said Lenza. Oh, that's because I don't even know how they sign my name.
Topi, let us sign this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. This is KBC Channel 1, the Legends Edition. I am Catherine Kasavuli. My co-anchor has been Topi Liambila. Have a wonderful evening. We love you. We love you.
Every day, over 15 million members are transforming Africa. Equity, Karibu Member.
Sexual violence has become a recurrent and a brutal feature in the general elections in Kenya since the 1990s. What makes electoral-related sexual violence stand out?
A lot of insecurity around the electoral period. So there is opportunistic, for example, rape.
So when I opened the gate is when I realized that he had bad intentions. And so he came in, we had a fight, he violated me.
Person really wrestles alone. And because of stigma, then there is the idea of you die in silence.
If all these organizations and governments were doing their work, or rather things are in place, elections, there'll be no issue about sexual violence around elections.
Aha!
Msikilizaji wa Radio Taifa, karibu tena kwenye kipindi kinajulikana kama Rada ni Yesu. Kila Jumapili kinaletwa kwako na rubani unayempenda anajulikana kama Mr. Rafton Igi. Ungana nami kila Jumapili kuanzia midaya ya saa 12 mpaka saa 1 usiku.